The existence of such an unmatched supreme expert was something far beyond Liu Yang's wildest imagination. The mysterious senior let out 3 hearty laughs before leisurely stepping forth from the swirling mist. His face was white, his skin was fair, and his head was a block of tofu. Senior Tofu came closer, speaking faster. I am Heavenly Venerable Tofu. Throughout this seat's entire life of cultivation, one absolute truth has prevailed: the more tofu you consume, the faster your cultivation advances, establishing an unshakable foundation, defeating opponents above your rank, embracing peerless beauties, and ascending to the apex. All of this can be achieved through eating more tofu alone. Terrified to the point that cold sweat drenched his body, Liu Yang's eyes flew open in shock. He jolted upright in bed and blankly scanned his surroundings. Only after confirming there was nothing but darkness and silence around him did he finally release a breath of relief. So it was merely a dream, thank heavens. Even so, Liu Yang could still feel his back soaked with icy sweat, the lingering horror deeply rooted in his heart. Yunji slowly opened her eyes as a thread of purple light from Liu Yang's chamber returned to her fingertip. She softly murmured to herself, "With this, he should become even more diligent in his cultivation. Master once said that appropriate pressure can be transformed into motivation, making one strive even harder for success." Yunji herself was living proof of that philosophy, so she firmly believed her master's teachings were entirely reasonable. Thus, she employed the dream-entering technique to provide Liu Yang with just the tiniest bit of motivational pressure. Though the lines 8th Elder provided are somewhat embarrassing, I truly wonder how he manages to say them normally. Yunji excelled at seeking outside consultation, and every line and scenario in the dream had been meticulously scripted by 8th Elder himself. 8th Elder had confidently guaranteed Yunji that this approach would absolutely work. Some more time quietly passed. Yunji soon noticed that Liu Yang could now effortlessly grasp tofu, toss it high into the air, and catch it securely without fail. He had even begun treating tofu like a weighted sandbag, throwing it back and forth in training with the puppet. It was almost as though the soft, delicate tofu had fused into an extension of his own physical being. After silently observing him for a while, Yunji stepped forward and coldly declared, lifting lightness as though it were weight, "You have succeeded. This phase is complete. Congratulations, you have officially entered the qi condensation stage." Liu Yang froze in disbelief, pointing at himself. "Qi condensation stage? Me?" A rare trace of a faint smile appeared upon Yunji's face. Early morning, 3 days ago. Instantly, Liu Yang's memories resurfaced. That morning, he had risen unusually early. Facing the dawn's first light with closed eyes, he deeply contemplated how to properly seize the tofu. Find the correct sensation, let your body control the force, not your spiritual platform. Don't consciously calculate the amount of force, trust entirely in instinct. As his thoughts deepened, he gradually lost all awareness of the external world, as though his very existence had transformed into a drifting current of air suspended between heaven and earth. Soon after, his consciousness became heavy and slowly returned to his body. In that fleeting instant, a profound sense of enlightenment washed over him, and he vaguely sensed a stream of warm energy circulating within his dantian. It was at that exact moment that he successfully grasped tofu for the very first time. He suddenly recalled that Yunji had not been physically present while he was training, which meant Big Senior's sister had been secretly observing him from somewhere all along. Liu Yang muttered thoughtfully to himself, "So, that sensation was qi entering the body. Does everyone cultivate qi into the body like this?" Yunji calmly shook her head. "No. This is the most ancient cultivation method passed down by the primordial ancestors, sensing nature itself and entering the unity of heaven and man. Your meridians were already open during the medicinal bath, making this method the most suitable for you, superior to all conventional qi condensation techniques." Liu Yang curiously asked, "Then how should I continue cultivating from here? Now that qi has entered my body, shouldn't I begin learning an actual cultivation technique?" Yunji continued, "There are countless cultivation techniques for sword spiritual roots. I possess an entire box full of them, but unfortunately, none are suitable for you. Because none of them were specifically created for you from the very beginning, therefore, Starting today, I assign you a long-term mission: create your own cultivation technique. When Yunji spoke of crafting one's own cultivation art, she did not intend for Lu Yang to stumble through the process unaided. She fully planned to personally guide him throughout. Even so, the difficulty of such an undertaking was undeniable. Creating cultivation arts was normally something only the greatest senior experts in the cultivation world could accomplish. Lu Yang's lips twitched uncontrollably. Create my own cultivation technique? Isn't that something only legendary seniors can do? I've only just drawn chi into my body, and I barely understand anything. Asking me to create my own technique is a little too. Yunji interrupted his complaints before they could continue. Creating cultivation techniques isn't nearly as difficult as you imagine. Back then, in order to handle complete sect missions, I created quite a few cultivation arts myself, then simply claimed they were discovered within ancient heavenly grotto ruins. Unfortunately, eventually every known ruin and heavenly grotto had already been used as my excuse, leaving me with no plausible origin stories for additional techniques, and thus, I was exposed. Lu Yang blinked in astonishment. How did that ever happen? Yunji replied with complete calm. Because according to my own reports, I had already explored every single ruin and heavenly grotto in existence. There were no more locations left for fabrication, see? Creating cultivation arts truly isn't difficult. Yunji's explanation was delivered with such flawless logic that it sounded oddly convincing. Lu Yang opened his mouth, inwardly wanting to protest. Eldest senior sister, can what you're saying actually be trusted? I'm an honest person, please don't deceive me. Your innate talent is monstrous beyond comparison. When you do this, it's called creating cultivation arts. If I do it, it would simply be inventing random nonsense. What exactly is that expression on your face? Under Yunji's icy gaze, every complaint Lu Yang wished to voice was forcibly condensed into a single sentence. Nothing. Eldest senior sister is absolutely right. Though you've become a cultivator, you are still far from qualifying as a true sword cultivator. Take this book. Yunji handed him an enormous ancient tome crafted from the hide of some unknown demonic beast. It was ancient, heavy, and thick beyond measure. Elite knowledge assistant. The moment Lu Yang opened it, a violent wave of baleful aura assaulted him directly. Countless demonic beasts seemed to leap from its pages, and faint roars echoed ominously in his ears. Lu Yang pondered inwardly. According to the records in the scripture pavilion, ancient sword cultivators often comprehended their first sword intent through life and death struggles against demonic beasts. Eldest senior sister's meaning is crystal clear. She wants me to use this tome to comprehend my own sword intent. Lu Yang nodded solemnly. I understand everything now. Yunji glanced at him with slight confusion, uncertain what exactly he believed he understood. Regardless, she casually waved her hand, prompting the puppet to push forward yet another cart overflowing with tofu. It's good that you understand. Next, your focus must be precision. Properly wield this green peak sword. Your next stage of cultivation is to use the sword tip to carve tofu into the exact forms of the demonic beasts recorded within this book. Tofu again? Could it be that last night's dream was not merely a nightmare, but some prophetic omen foretelling my future Taoist title? Tofu Heavenly Sovereign? Several days later. In little more than 10 days, Lu Yang had already mastered carving tofu into detailed demonic beast forms, along with statues of both himself and Yunji. He could even perfectly carve the 9 lotus-like mountain peaks of Wendao Sect. After this stage was complete, Yunji finally appeared once more to offer rare praise. Not bad, your mastery speed this time is significantly faster. After all, if I don't escape tofu soon, I'm genuinely going to die. Then, Yunji produced a single tiny white sesame seed. Sword cultivators must also sharpen their eyesight. This is one white sesame seed. I will crush all this tofu into pieces and scatter this sesame seed among it. Your task is to locate that single seed in the shortest possible time. The instant the sesame seed vanished into the broken tofu, it completely disappeared from sight. Lu Yang stood frozen, mouth agape, utterly stunned by the sheer absurdity of this training. Just as Yunji calmly prepared to toss in yet another sesame seed, Lu Yang lunged forward at maximum speed, physically shielding the tofu cart with his own body. The sesame seed Yunji flicked shot directly into Liu Yang's abdomen with terrifying force, instantly blasting him backward as he coughed up fresh blood. Liu Yang crashed heavily onto his knees and desperately pleaded, "Eldest senior sister, let's please change the training method." Yunji looked down at him with her usual serene, unwavering expression. "Oh, okay.